If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself.
Look, this show has allowed all kinds of people to come on. People we agree with, people we don't agree with. I've not been a fan of this man's. I don't like how he talks to us. I don't like how he talks to the nation.
Offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
I just leave. I go home. I go home to my life, and I take care of my cat and do all the stuff I'm supposed to do.
Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most startling and controversial stories to hit daytime television in recent memory. If you've been following headlines, you might have heard rumors that Whoopi Goldberg has suddenly fled the country. But why would a beloved entertainer, iconic figure, and longtime co-host on The View abruptly vanish from the spotlight without so much as a goodbye? Well, if you listen to Elon Musk's legal team, or even a growing contingent on social media, you'll hear the same answer. She's trying to escape the consequences of a colossal $80 million defamation lawsuit. Yes, you heard that right, $80 million, filed by none other than Musk himself. The talk show host, known for her strong opinions and fearless banter, allegedly crossed a line that is now triggering federal involvement, renewed scrutiny into her past remarks, and a wave of public outcry that may threaten the very existence of The View itself.
Yes, you have.
I've been saying that I think Elon Musk believes he's president. I do.
Well, you've been calling him vice president.
I've called him vice president. I called him president because I don't know what JD is doing. I hardly ever say, I don't remember last time we even talked about JD.
You're right. He's planning the presidency when they get rid of Trump.
So you think it's Musk Vance?
Possible.
But is this drama as clear-cut as it seems? Is Whoopi truly on the run? Or is this just yet another swirl of sensational rumor? Tonight, we'll unravel all the details from the simmering tension between Whoopi Goldberg and Elon Musk to the FBI's alleged interest in the story to what happens next for daytime TV's most polarizing show. Buckle up, because this is a roller coaster that touches on free speech, defamation law, and the delicate balance between talk show entertainment and serious allegations. Before we explore Whoopi Goldberg's sudden exit, let's set the scene. For decades, The View has served as a daytime talk show known for its lively debates, opinionated hosts, and the occasional viral controversy. Its co-hosts have rotated over the years. But Whoopi Goldberg has remained a defining presence on the panel. Her distinctive style alternatively genial, combative, and rise helped the show maintain its popularity despite a revolving door of guest hosts and co-hosts.
This is not something I'd recommend, frankly. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but it is. And I'm just looking at this video and it's so bizarre.
In the past, The View has courted controversy on various topics: politics, social issues, celebrity gossip, but rarely have these controversies led to a legal standoff with someone as prominent and arguably unpredictable as Elon Musk, a visionary entrepreneur who's made headlines for his work with Tesla, SpaceX, and social media. Musk has also become a lightning rod for public debate. Some hail him as a genius changing the world. Others criticize him for his brash communication style, his flirtations with controversy, and, more recently, his handling of Twitter, or X, as it's now branded. This friction between two strong personalities, Whoopi Goldberg and Elon Musk, now forms the backdrop of an unprecedented legal battle. According to multiple sources, Musk's legal team is accusing Whoopi and The View of spreading malicious, false, and reputationally damaging narratives about him to millions of daytime TV viewers. The result, an $80 million defamation lawsuit that is progressing faster than anyone expected.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself. Offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care.
So how did this all begin? The story goes that on a recent segment of The View, Whoopi Goldberg launched into a spontaneous rant about Elon Musk, Senator J.D. Vance, and a supposed plan to orchestrate a takeover of the U.S. government in the event Donald Trump were to be removed from office. The conversation, as is typical for The View, moved swiftly, sometimes chaotically, from topic to topic, but key allegations lingered in the air that Musk saw himself as a de facto political figure, that behind the scenes he was plotting or preparing in ways that weren't entirely above board. There was also a curious aside about people tripping down stairways phrasing that some interpreted as a veiled threat or a possible endorsement of harm befalling political figures. In a moment, the show turned from lighthearted banter to serious insinuations for Elon Musk. Or so his camp claims. Those insinuations crossed the line. Not only were they unsubstantiated, but they also painted him as some shadowy manipulator on the brink of committing treasonous acts. Viewers might have initially dismissed it all as comedic hyperbole or a typical View meltdown, but Musk did not see the humor. Instead, he picked up the phone, called his lawyers, and set into motion what is fast becoming one of the most talked about defamation lawsuits in recent daytime TV history.
Okay, I need to clean something up because my cat lays in wait for me on my stairs all the time. And that's what I was thinking of that. I wasn't trying to indicate that they were actually standing there with their legs out, hoping he would trip.
When the lawsuit hit the news cycle, it did so with an unmistakable bang. The figure $80 million alone was enough to turn heads. For most of us, that number is astronomical. Though for someone like Elon Musk, it might be more about making a statement than collecting money. And that seems to be the crux. Musk's team isn't just demanding damages. They're seeking accountability and setting a legal precedent. According to leaked portions of Musk's legal filing, The View is accused of broadcasting demonstrably false claims with reckless disregard for the truth. The complaint argues that the hosts, especially Whoopi, knew or should have known that what they were saying lacked evidence by airing it to millions. The show allegedly acted with malice, designed to tarnish Musk's reputation and stoke fear that he was orchestrating some clandestine coup. Legal experts quickly chimed in, offering mixed opinions. Some argued that talk shows regularly engage in hyperbole and freewheeling speculation, and that Musk's lawsuit might be overreaching, a potential threat to free speech. Others insisted that if the claims are truly baseless, then a defamation suit is exactly what the media landscape needs: a clarion call to stop conflating unverified gossip with factual reporting. One thing is certain, the case itself is unique, placing a daytime talk show's comedic commentary under the microscope in highly publicized defamation context.
I respect everything everyone is saying to me, and I don't want to fake apologize. I was very upset about that people are misunderstood what I was saying.
The situation escalated further when rumors surfaced about the FBI's involvement. Why would federal authorities care about a talk show spat? The answer, some sources suggest, lies in the possibility that Whoopi's comments about tripping down stairways could be interpreted as a euphemism for violence. If a public figure joked about a high-profile billionaire or a U.S. senator suffering a sudden accident, it might raise eyebrows in certain law enforcement circles. Whether the FBI is actively investigating Whoopi Goldberg or The View is unclear. Official statements are scarce, and many details remain speculative. However, behind-the-scenes whispers indicate that the agency is at least aware of the situation, monitoring whether such remarks might constitute a real threat or incitement of harm. Understandably, this revelation sent shockwaves through the corridors of ABC, The View, long accustomed to controversies and criticisms. Now, faced a level of seriousness that overshadowed previous dust-ups, lawsuits are one thing. Federal investigations are quite another. Producers reportedly began to hold emergency meetings discussing how to handle this PR nightmare. Was the show at legal risk? Could Whoopi's personal commentary drag them all into uncharted waters?
I'm in favor of freedom of speech. And freedom of speech only is relevant when people you don't like say things you don't like. Otherwise, it has no meaning.
Then came the unthinkable. Whoopi Goldberg simply vanished from the show's panel. Without warning or explanation. Typically, high-profile exits of longtime hosts come with formal announcements, statements from network executives, maybe a heartfelt goodbye on air. But this time, viewers notice only that she wasn't there. One day she was present, smirking on The View, as some tabloids put it, and the next day, she was simply gone. While the official line from network reps and co-host is minimal sum, citing a scheduled vacation. Others refusing to comment. Inside sources claim that this disappearance was no ordinary hiatus. Instead, it was a strategic retreat designed to remove Whoopi from the direct path of legal scrutiny. The rumor mill says she left the United States altogether, seeking refuge in a location where she felt she can handle the crisis more privately. Did she believe it was safer to negotiate or consult with attorneys from outside the country? Possibly. The effect on the show was immediate. Fans flooded social media with questions. Where's Whoopi? Is she fired? Is she sick? The hush from ABC only fueled speculation that something bigger was happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the remaining co-host attempted to fill the void, but episodes felt tense and muted, lacking the distinctive spark Whoopi typically brings. To understand why Whoopi might have fled so abruptly, it helps to look at the broader context. She wasn't just under siege from Musk's lawsuit. She was also facing renewed scrutiny of her past controversies over the years. Whoopi has made divisive remarks about various topics, sometimes apologizing, sometimes doubling down. In the days following Musk's legal assault, critics dug up old footage of her making contradictory or inflammatory statements. Those clips circulated anew on social media, painting her in a less than flattering light. Some critics said she's been doing this for years, using her platform to spread reckless commentary. Others shot back, she's just joking, that's free speech. The resulting swirl of debate, condemnation, and defense amplified the pressure on Whoopi. Moreover, it appeared she was receiving little to no public support from her network. In dire times, you might expect ABC to issue a protective statement, but instead, the network maintained a careful distance, likely eager not to exacerbate the legal storm, according to insiders. This isolation left Whoopi feeling cornered. She allegedly confided in close friends and co-workers that she was worried about being scapegoated if the case took a dramatic turn, with the FBI rumored to be watching, and the public up in arms. She might have decided that a low profile outside the US would at least buy her time to strategize or breathe once the news of Whoopi's disappearance broke. Social media lit up like a 4th of July fireworks display. Hashtags sprouted overnight. Hashtag cancel the view. Hashtag stand with the LON. Hashtag where's Whoopi. Some users accused her of running away from accountability, labeling her a coward who talked a big game, but couldn't face the legal consequences of her words. Others were more sympathetic, suggesting she might be under immense mental and emotional strain. Elon Musk supporters particularly seized upon the moment, taking to Twitter, now rebranded as X, to celebrate what they perceived as a big win in the fight against media falsehoods. In their view, Whoopi's exit symbolized the show's downfall and Musk's triumph over a media ecosystem that has misrepresented him for too long. Critics, on the other hand, argued that Musk's lawsuit was a dangerous move that could set a precedent for silencing criticism. If talk shows and comedians fear defamation suits every time they voice a controversial opinion, what does that mean for the vibrancy of free expression, regardless of which side you're on? It's hard to deny that the entire scenario is a reflection of our times, a potent mixture of celebrity, politics, social media vitriol, and legal challenges, all swirling together in a storm that leaves no clear path forward. Where does The View stand now, without its longtime anchor? The network is officially tight-lipped. There are rumors that advertisers, wary of negative publicity and possible liability, are quietly reducing their spending on the show. Ratings watchers note a dip in viewership as fans either tune out or look for alternative daytime fare. Meanwhile, petitions calling for The View's cancellation are reportedly gaining traction, though it's unclear how many signatures they've truly gathered. For a show that once seemed untouchable, virtually an institution in daytime TV, this is a precarious moment. The bigger question is whether this lawsuit will reshape how talk shows operate in the future. Will producers demand thorough fact-checking before every segment? Will hosts be required to clarify that they're speaking from speculation, not authority? Or will it all blow over, resulting in a quiet settlement that keeps the details under wraps? This is an unprecedented situation because defamation suits against talk shows aren't unheard of, but they rarely escalate to involve the FBI or spawn allegations that a co-host literally fled the country to avoid accountability. That's the kind of drama that can change an industry. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Whoopi Goldberg has found herself in hot water. Over the years, she has made comments on The View regarding topics such as race, religion, and politics, some of which sparked uproar and led to on-air clarifications or apologies. Her style tends to be direct, sometimes abrasive, and part of her charm or her downfall, depending on whom you ask, has been that she rarely filters her thoughts before speaking them. One of the reasons her recent remarks about Elon Musk caused such an uproar is precisely because of her track record. Critics argue that Whoopi has repeatedly cloaked unfounded statements in a veneer of authenticity, leaning on her comedic and cultural icon status to deflect serious backlash. This time, though, it landed differently, especially given Musk's legal might and his fervent base of supporters for all her controversies. Whoopi has maintained a core fan base that loves her for her candor, her comedic chops, and her contributions to entertainment and social commentary. Whether that fan base remains loyal through the scandal or finds itself disenchanted could significantly affect her future career trajectory. Let's zoom out for a moment. Beyond the personalities involved, Whoopi Goldberg and Elon Musk, this case underscores a broader tension in contemporary media. On one hand, we champion free speech as essential to democracy, especially in talk shows meant to spark debate and reflection. On the other hand, we recognize that misinformation, especially when packaged as fact, can cause real harm. Defamation aims to protect individuals from malicious falsehoods that damage their reputation. However, it also collides with the principle that everyone should be free to express opinions, even controversial or unpopular ones. Musk's critics fear that a successful lawsuit against The View could embolden other powerful figures to sue media outlets over any unflattering coverage. Could this lead to a chilling effect where talk show hosts self-censor to avoid legal pitfalls? Proponents of Musk's legal stance counter that accountability is long overdue. They argue that talk shows and mainstream media often proceed as if they can say anything with impunity. If misinformation about a billionaire incites public fear or diminishes trust in democracy, that's not just an opinion, it can shape public perception in very tangible, damaging ways. Hence, the question becomes, where does dialogue end and defamation begin? There's now feverish speculation on whether Whoopi Goldberg will return to The View. Some fans hold out hope that she'll reappear with her usual moxie, telling the story of a misunderstanding or a needed mental health break. Others believe her absence might become permanent, especially if the legal situation worsens. If ABC decided that she represents a big liability, they might quietly part ways. focusing on new co-hosts who come with less baggage. But perhaps the biggest wild card is the lawsuit's outcome. If the suit gains momentum with depositions and evidence discovery, Whoopi may be compelled to participate no matter where she is. In that scenario, the lens of public scrutiny will intensify, and her every statement could be dissected not just by fans and critics, but by a legal apparatus seeking to determine her level of culpability. The scenario also raises questions for other talk shows that thrive on hot takes and controversial banter. Could we see a domino effect if Musk's lawsuit succeeds, with other public figures filing defamation suits against shows like The View, The Talk, Dr. Phil, or even late-night comedians? There's a reason many comedic or opinion-based programs include disclaimers clarifying that the statements made are personal opinions, not factual reporting. Yet disclaimers can only go so far. A talk show that continually pushes boundaries might find itself tested if a figure with the resources and determination of Elon Musk decides to hold it to account. At that point, the question is not just whether the claims were false, but whether the host demonstrated reckless disregard for the truth. If you're wondering why ABC hasn't addressed the rumors more directly, you're not alone. Network executives typically jump in to manage messaging during a crisis. Their silence suggests either caution perhaps on legal advice or internal uncertainty. If the network is still evaluating its position, it may prefer to keep quiet until its lawyers have a clearer sense of how vulnerable they might be under defamation law. It's also possible that the network is trying to negotiate a settlement behind the scenes, hoping to avoid a protracted legal battle. A settlement, however, could be expensive and humiliating, as it might imply an admission of wrongdoing. On the flip side, if they lose the lawsuit in court, the verdict could be even more damaging. No matter which path ABC chooses, it's a high-stakes gamble. What about Whoopi herself? We can only speculate on her mindset. She may feel she was unfairly targeted by Musk, a powerful billionaire with the means to silence critics. Or she might genuinely fear a legal battle that could drain her financially and psychologically. Some close to her claim she's frustrated that her remarks, intended as jokes or off-the-cuff speculation, became the centerpiece of a national scandal. Others suggest that she understands she crossed a line and worries about the ramifications for her reputation and legacy. We also can't forget the role of mental health in these situations. Public figures often face enormous pressure, especially when embroiled in legal controversies. Whoopi might have deemed it better to step away for her own well-being, rather than face a constant media blitz in New York or Los Angeles. As the dust settles, several crucial developments loom: court proceedings. If the lawsuit proceeds to discovery and depositions, we might learn exactly what evidence Musk's legal team has to prove defamation. That evidence could include internal communications from The View, unedited footage, and more. Whoopi's location, sooner or later, if legal authorities require Whoopi's testimony, her absence won't necessarily protect her. International legal channels can mandate that she appear in court or give a deposition remotely. Network decisions: ABC will have to decide whether to stand behind Whoopi, distance itself, or quietly renegotiate contracts. The show's future might hinge on how the lawsuit is resolved and how it impacts advertisers, viewers, and the brand image. Public sentiment. Public opinion is fickle. While many are furious at Whoopi's perceived recklessness, sentiment could shift if the lawsuit appears overreaching or vindictive. The court of public opinion can flip in an instant if new evidence emerges. Impact on talk shows: the result could either embolden or chill free speech in the talk show sphere. If Musk wins decisively, expect more caution in how hosts discuss public figures. If The View prevails, it may reaffirm the show's right to express even controversial opinions. No matter where you stand, whether you see Elon Musk as a champion of accountability or a billionaire bully, or whether you view Whoopi Goldberg as a bold truth teller or a habitual pot stirrer, one fact remains undeniable: this saga represents a clash of celebrity, media, and law on a grand scale. The View, once known for spirited lunchtime banter, may now be forced to confront legal and ethical lines it has skated around for years. For Whoopi Goldberg, her choice to flee, if that's indeed what happened, only fans the flames of speculation. It raises questions about whether she can return to her previous life without facing the full force of Musk's legal arsenal. And for Elon Musk, this case is more than just a personal grievance. It's a high-profile stand against what he perceives as deliberate misinformation by mainstream media. Will we see Whoopi Goldberg reemerge, defiantly proclaiming her innocence on live TV? Or will this mark the end of her tenure on one of America's most storied talk shows? Will The View survive the PR nightmare and the wave of advertiser anxiety? Or is this lawsuit the final straw that pushes ABC to pivot away from the show's decades-long formula? Ultimately, the story is still unfolding. Court proceedings can be lengthy, and the public's attention span can shift at a moment's notice. Yet, for now, all eyes remain on the interplay between a billionaire who refuses to let a perceived slight go unanswered, a talk show host famous for saying exactly what's on her mind, no matter the consequences. Thank you for joining this in-depth look at the controversy. The outcome could very well redefine how talk shows handle their content and could reverberate through the corridors of media power for years to come. Let us know in the comments, did Whoopi cross the line with her remarks about Elon Musk? Or is Musk overreacting by slamming her and The View with an $80 million lawsuit? Your voice matters in this debate over free speech, media accountability, and the boundaries of responsible commentary as this story develops. We'll be here to break it down, separating rumor from fact, and giving you the context you need to form your own opinion. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and remember, when daytime TV meets high-stakes litigation, you can count on sparks to fly.